If there's such a place as cow heaven, this may be it. Acres upon acres of lush green grass, the herd free to roam, to eat as much as they can eat. A bovine buffet, so to speak. It was the vision of Hart Dairy founding farmer and Georgia transplant, Richard Watson.
So growing up in New Zealand, I grew up in a rural part of New Zealand in the central North Island, and spent my summer holidays working on sheep and beef farms. There was a lot of sheep in New Zealand. I said we got 4.5 million people. At one point there were 70 million sheep in New Zealand. So I guess it's lucky they can't vote. And there's about 4.5 million dairy cows. There's actually more dairy cows in New Zealand than there are people. So it's a huge agricultural based economy. So I grew up around it. I went to college, studied agriculture, and ended up getting a PhD in animal science from Massey University in New Zealand.
So with a wealth of knowledge and experience, Dr. Watson made his way to Georgia in 2000, where he eventually landed on the staff at UGA, running research trials on forages and grazing and developing new forage technologies. He also spent 3 years in Mississippi as the state forage extension specialist. Then in 2007, it all came together. The foundation for Hart Dairy, which Watson knew from the start would be based on New Zealand-style dairies.
The New Zealand-style dairy, New Zealand's agricultural system is almost exclusively based on pasture or grass production, forage production, so where the animals are outdoors all year round grazing. Now, fortunately, New Zealand has a climate that is conducive to that sort of animal production system, but the whole agricultural technology or animal production technologies are all based around grazing and forage production. So I just saw the potential. I just saw the phenomenal ability of this part of the world, the southeast United States, to grow forage. You've got the right combination of heat and water, and to me it just seemed to make a lot of sense to take a lot of the technologies, that New Zealand style of managing forage, intensive grazing, putting animals outdoors, and marrying that with just a phenomenal set of natural resources that we have here in the southeast and this part of Georgia particularly. It just seemed to make a lot of sense to do that.
And Hart Dairy winning the grand prize at this year's Flavor of Georgia contest didn't happen by accident. Watson says it was the result of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, money, and mistakes. Expensive mistakes, according to Richard. Nonetheless, he's also quick to point out those mistakes enabled Hart Dairy to produce a product all involved truly believe is both good and, more importantly, good for you.
Winning that overall prize is really, for me at least, living in Georgia and for the last 20 years is sort of a validation and a culmination of a lot of effort that proves out what we're doing and shows that there is independent validation that the product that we are now producing and bringing to market is a good one. Look, milk is a fantastic starting point, regardless of where that milk is produced. Milk produced conventionally or in a grass-fed system is a superfood. It's you can't make that, you can't contrive it, you can't manufacture it. It's truly a nature's superfood.
Something else worth noting, the fitness industry. More and more research is showing that milk before, during, and after a workout, especially chocolate milk, is extremely beneficial to the body. In some cases, even better than those store-bought protein powders. And that's something the folks here at Hart Dairy have taken into consideration.
The reason it is so good is when you work out, and you work out in a very vigorous manner, you're using all those macronutrients. You're using protein, you're burning fat, you're burning carbohydrate. I mean, carbohydrate gets a bad name these days, but at the end of the day, your body needs carbohydrate, needs all of those 3 macronutrients, in addition to all the vitamins and other things that are going on in milk. So milk is truly a complete package. It provides all those 3 critical core macronutrients to athletes post-workout. So it's not just protein, it's not just fat, it's not just carbohydrate. It's all of them, and in a very balanced way.